Hi everyone, welcome to CPI-DS introduction or demo session. Let me quickly start giving the details like what topics will be covered under this training session and what is CPI-DS and what all the major activities will be done through this training. Before starting the CPI-DS demo session or the introduction to CPI-DS, let me quickly give you a synopsis of what is an integration or what are the middlewares or what is an ETL tool. Let me quickly share my screen. I hope you people are able to see my screen. Yep. So today's topic is CPI-DS. Generally in the initial days, the CPI-DS system is known as HCI-DS, which stands for HANA Cloud Integration for Data Services. Later on, SAP has changed the HCI-DS name to CPI-DS, which is known as Cloud Platform Integration for Data Services. Currently, we call it as CADS, which is known as Cloud Integration for Data Services. So, in three of these names, the common word which you see is integration. Whether it would be HCADS HANA integration or a CPI-DS Cloud Platform Integration or CADS Cloud Integration, the major two words which we generally see is cloud and integration. So let's take the common words cloud and integration. And we do see the data services, which will be coming in the later part of the session. What does it mean? So what majorly we see in the first stage of these names is cloud integration. Basically, we all know what is cloud and what is the difference between the on-premise and cloud systems. Generally, cloud system is something which we have it on their cloud system, cloud environment. And now, what is integration? If you talk about integration, integration is something that we are integrating between two systems like data. As we all know that in today's world, data is one of the most important thing which every software engineer or a normal people require. So generally what we does with the data is initially we have these datas in their local servers or on their own premise systems. So as the world is moving towards the cloud environment, now all the clients or the customers are planning to move their data onto their cloud systems. Initially, they used to have it in their Excel formats or their own databases. Currently, they want to move it onto the cloud environment. So to do that, we have a model called integration model. Generally, each customer has their own integration models. In the same way, SAP as a product has its own integration models. Initially, when we used to integrate two different systems on premise, we used to use some of the integration systems, logical systems like PIPO and PODS. So on when it is on premise, we used to transfer the data or we used to send the data using these tools on SAP on a prior basis. We do have many of the non-SAP tools which where we can integrate the data into different systems. Like we have multiple softwares in the market, right? Like Oracle or there we use different integration models. Currently in SAP, we used to use PIPO or BODS. And when as the evolution of cloud started, SAP has launched their own cloud platforms to integrate the data between the on-premise systems of SAP or non-SAP to the cloud systems of SAP. So when we talk about, before talking about these cloud systems and non-cloud systems, the major thing what all these softwares or platforms are doing is transmitting the data. So what is required here? The major requirement or why the introduction of these different tools has happened is to transfer the data between the systems. So generally when we transfer a data, we need a middleware, a word called middleware. So generally what is a middleware? To define a middleware in a normal terminology, middleware, the name itself says middleware is a middle system which moves the data. In a general terminology, we can say that middleware is a system which will move the data from one system to the other system. In a general example, let's take we have data in an Excel format. So from that Excel format, you need to move it onto the cloud system or an on-premise system. Then we will be using a middleware which the software has described, predefined. Generally, every software like SAP or any other tool like Oracle has their own middlewares where we can send the data as required. So as middleware is a middle system which moves the data in a normal language, which can be understood by a layman as well. So what does generally a middleware do? Middleware performs different ETL activities. You have a new word called ETL. So you will get a doubt now. What does ETL stands for? So the abbreviation of ETL is extraction, transformation, and loading. If you see here, ETL stands for these three words where extraction, transformation, and loading. What we are talking about is data. So generally, what an ETL tool does, whether it may be an SAP ETL tool or it may be a non-SAP ETL tool, it extracts the data. Let's go to the ground level. Extraction of data. So what does this mean? We are extracting the data. The word itself says that we are extracting something. What we are extracting as you are working on data, we are extracting the data, right? So once we extracted the data from different systems or different sources, we will make the filtrations. So what does the second word stands for? Transformation. Transformation of data. So what is a general example of transformation of word used is? Generally, if you see when we go to these gyms or working stations, you see these pre and post workout transformation pics. So what that means? Change. Transformation means change as per the requirement. So what we are doing here is transformation of data. What does the transformation stands for? The filtration of data. So you may cut the data, you may, what we can say, you can filter out the data. What all the changes? What all filtration of data changes to the data as required. Let's say in the source system, you have an data in the format of A plus B. Now in the target system, you would require it as A plus B square or 2B. So this change, whatever is required of transforming the data will be done at the ETL level, transformation level. So E stands for extracting the data, T stands for transformation of data, and L stands for loading of data. What it stands for? Loading of data. So initially, what does it mean by load? So once the filtrations and transformations are done, we will be loading the data into required system. It may be a non-SAP system, or it may be an SAP system, or whatever the requirement. So if you take an ETL tool, what it does is it extracts the data, it transforms the data, and it loads the data as required. So that's what it stands for, middleware or ETL tool. Now, if we talk about the CIDS or CPIDS, what we are currently looking at is an SAP tool which is used to which is used as ETL tool. So now you have a doubt, you will be having a doubt. Why only to use CIDS or CPIDS? Because we have multiple tools in the market to do these ETL activities. But when SAP has launched a project called SAP IBP, stands for SAP Integrated Business Planning. So generally it's a planning tool which is used to do the different types of planning in the supply chain management. Let's say if you want to predict the demand or supply, or do the supply or response or inventory management, inventory planning, generally SAP came up with a new tool in the recent era that is called as SAP IBP, Integrated Business Planning. For this particular tool, SAP has launched its own integrated integration tool, that is CPI-DS. So now the final result is to integrate or to transfer data from different source systems to IBP system. SAP has its own integration tool called CPI-DS. So as all the systems or platforms in market has their own integration tool, even SAP IBP has its own integration tool that is called CPI-DS. So generally in IBP, we have two different types of plannings. One is time series planning, and the other is order place planning. So as all the planning systems, even IBP has their own different two types of plannings here, where time series planning is done to get the historical data and do the planning on a time series base. And coming to order based planning, it's a different technology used in IBP to get the planning at the order level. So to get these time series data, the integration model or the integration system, what they have is CPIDS system. So that's all. When it comes to the integrating data between two systems, we use, so once let give me a end to end perhaps, or what we have learned till now. So CPIDS system, generally they have different, they started it with HCIDS and currently it is called as CIDS. It's an ETL tool or a middleware which extracts the data, transforms or filters the data and loads the data. So generally the CPIDS as a tool, integration tool, majorly used to integrate the data between two different systems, whether it may be a SAP or a non-SAP. So IBP is the major tool which is using CIDS as its own integration platform. We do have some of the SAP or non-SAP ETL tools like SAP CPI Informatica, for example. So in general, when we are integrating data with CIDS, the time series data will be pulled from the required sources and sent to the IBP system. Now let me take you through the presentation on the demo what we are planned for in this course. If you see the course content, the agenda of this course will be having the introduction, what is CIDS, what I have taken through you, and the architecture. what will be the architecture of the CIDS system, like how we pull the data and what is the design which SAP has given, and different types of data sources. A simple definition of data source, I'll be taking you to the deep level knowledge of what is a data source, but the word itself says source. Source is something where we have the required data, and tasks, process, and the data flow. Generally, data source is the extraction step, and this tasks and process and data flow will be taken care by transformation, where the filtrations are done, and we will be loading the data into the target system. When I define these different availabilities of integration through IBP, we have some of the IBP advanced integration topics as well, where the RTI or the SDI, which stands for real-time integration, or smart data integration, is used to load the order-based planning, or different APIs which are used to directly integrate the data from different SAP or non-SAP systems into IBP. So if we start with integration, introduction of CPI-DS or as an integration tool, SAP Cloud Platform Data Services allows to efficiently load and securely load the ETL movement of data, which I already explained you. ETL. ETL stands for extract, transform, load, using different tasks. I'll be explaining you in detail what is a task. We have in detail notes of what is a task and how it is used, and we will be sharing you the documents which will be helpful going forward as well. So generally, as all integration systems are to connect two different systems, we will be using different connectivity options. In the same way, the CIDS system has its own data services agent or an agent machine, which is developed at the backend level, which maintains or controls all the HTTP connections or RFC connections between the source system and target system. So that is a short introduction to CPI-DS. And coming to architecture, generally, if we go through this architecture, SAP CIDS as a platform have two different types of components. What I mentioned, two different types of components. What are those? As I said, agent mission, and what we clearly means this CIDS tool, integration tool. So if you want to divide or define these two systems, differentiate between this agent machine and CIDS tool, agent machine is something which is at the backend level. So agent machine is something at the backend level where all the system connections are maintained. Main point we need to remember here is CPI-DS or CIDS agent is a lightweight tool or an agent. So what does this mean? This statement says that it's a lightweight agent or a tool, which means it cannot hold threshold. It has a threshold limit where it cannot go, we cannot go beyond that threshold limit. If we go the threshold limit using the data, we may get errors or the agent may get collapsed, where we need to work on it again from the starting level. So for that, we have different techniques in CIDS, which is used to not keep the overload onto the DS agent or the CIDS system. So if you see here, we will be defining what is a data services agent and what is this HANA Cloud integration. So the core component of CIDS is designed to address the connectivity between the on-premise systems and SAP Cloud Platform. As I said, CIDS design or the agent machine or the cloud platform, what is it used for? It is used to connect the on-premise systems of SAP or non-SAP to the SAP Cloud Platform. So if you see the high level architecture of here, let's take an on-premise system like an example of flat file or an ECC system or an S4 system or some of the databases like BW or HANA database, or we do have some of the databases like SQL and MySQL. Those are all on-premise or source systems. And here, if you see it, we are using a data services agent, and we are making a connection between the source system, whatever it may be the source system, we are going to connect it to the CIDS agent. From CIDS agent, we are taking the connection from the backend agent system to the CIDS cloud platform system, where the agent manager is maintained. And from there, all the transformations and extraction and transformations are done, and data is loaded onto the different required tables in the target system. This is the high level architecture of the CIDS system. So in general, if I make you a draw and help you with the design, so let's take a pictures, node of thread modules, shapes. Let me help you with the shape. So we are taking you start here, you can say it as file. Let me take a pen instead of using all this. So that let me join this, and from there again I will be using this as a copy and using here. This is the direction what we generally use. So what we are doing here, it's a source system, or let me simply, sorry for the interruption. Let's say this as a source system. Whatever it may be, a source system consists of an ECC system or a flat file or maybe a HANA system or non-SAP like SQL system. And this is our CPI-DS. And let's take this as a target system. Target system may be IBP or again a flat file or again a ECC system. So generally what we are doing is we are getting the data. Here if you say this is extraction, transformation, loading. So generally we are extracting the data here, we are transforming the data here, and we are loading the data here. So in the same way, if you see here, as the connectivities are maintained, we are extracting the data from a file, we are making all the changes at this level, at the CPI-DS print and system level, and we are loading the data to the required tables as the target system. So this is the high level architecture of an ETL tool or a CIDS tool. Let me go through the in detailed architecture of CIDS, where it is generally used in market for IBP system. If you see here, ETL integration using cloud integration for data services. So what generally it stands for? If you see here, there is CIDS agent or template, which is as a used as a middleware, where we are getting the data from the source and transferring it through the agent to a DS agent system, and all the transformations are done here by using different SOAP and web socket RFC protocols. We are loading it to the target systems. And if you see here on a high level architecture, this is the IBP time series data integration. where the data is transformed, extracted and loaded in two ways. So what we are getting here from ECC or other systems, we are getting the raw data as required and doing the filtrations at CADS end and transforming the data at CADS end and loading it to IBP system. So once all the data is loaded in the IBP systems, they make their different plannings in IBP. So from the final planning, out from the IBP will be again moved to either ECC or a flat file as per the client requirement using the CIDS system. So this is the connectivity between the CIDS system using the ECC as a source or flat file as a source to IBP and vice versa. So this is the high level architecture. And if you see here in deep, what is the data store? What are the data stores options we have? We have connectivity part. Generally, I'll take you through all these steps in the system itself. What we are going to cover in this project is what all the connectivity types we have it, and what are the tasks and processor projects we have for this, what all we will be explaining you in detail, what are data flows, what are different filtrations, transformation steps available in this CPI-DS as a system, like creation of data flow from scratch, duplicate of data flow, transform types, transform operations, how to different tables are joined, filtering the data, sort data, group results by column, construction of XML map, iteration rules. These all will be explained to you in detail on a hands-on basis when we go into the system. Like once all the development phase is done, we will take you through the project scenarios, live project scenarios, like extracting the data from a standard table or an extraction integrators. And we use different function modules in ECC, or we use write back integration model to integrate the data from IBP to flat files. These all are the topics which I are going to cover in this topic. And in the advanced level of IBP integration, we will be covering some of the in-depth knowledge of what is SDA integration, what is the OBP or RTA, where it covers the real-time integration steps. We will be explaining you in the next upcoming classes, like what will be covered under these topics. And coming to the timeline. So before taking you into the system, let me clearly give you the output timeline of this CADS course. The plan what we have is in the week one, we will be explaining the architecture and installation of configuration of data services agent. As we know, CADS itself has its own DS agent. We will be helping you on hands to install the agent and make the connectivities done to the front end system and the back end systems. So in the week two, we will be explaining you creation of tasks, processes, creation of projects, what is a project, what is a job, what is a data flow, and all the transformation steps in CADS. So in the week three, we will take you through the real-time project scenarios. What are errors we get when we do the development or at the post-production support level. In the week four, in the advanced IBP integration modules, we will be explaining you what is RTA, how the RTA and SDA evolution has done. And week five, we'll be having the recap of all the sessions, and you'll be having the question and answer session. Generally, you can stop me at any level while I'm taking you to this course, and you can question me whenever you have a question. It may be a simple question which may stop you to learn the next step. So be free and start asking the questions from the day one itself. So let me take you to the system. This is the CIDS front-end system. So generally, you will be getting this system link uh, from the management team, or when you're working on a project, you will be going to get this link from your client or customer who bought the IBP as a license. So here it is clear that if a customer is going to get an IBP license, CPI-DS is an included tool in the IBP license. So to log into the system, generally, when you get this link from the customer or the client, you or the basis team, you need to give the organization link. Generally, in organization name is something that what will be used to identify a particular system or a client in the SAP database. Let me, so for this, it is DSUS 4660. Let me quickly stop sharing my screen, and once I log in, I will help you with. So sorry for the interruption, guys. Yeah, if you see here, I just given the organization name, and once you give the organization name, right, you'll be getting an user login page where you need to log into the system using your username and your password, which will be generally same, which looks like same as your Gmail login or your Facebook login. So once you give your details, you will be logging into the CIDS front-end system. As I said, we have two different types of systems. One is the backend system, and the which is the agent machine, and the second one is the front-end CIDS tool. The currently what we are seeing here is an CIDS system for the front-end developers, which will be used to do all the filtrations and give the connectivity loadings and send the data to required target tables. Before starting this CIDS tool introduction, let's quickly see. Once we log into this organization, you will be seeing the user details, and we have two different systems on the same URL. Generally, if you go to IBP or any of the systems, you will be having different URLs for the login into the development system and production system. When you go to on-premise systems like SAP ECC, you will be having three-layered system where we have development system and then quality system and then production system. But coming to CADS, we have only two systems. One is sandbox and the other one is production. Generally, whatever all the developments are done will be done at the sandbox system. So once the changes and the transformations and filtrations are done at the sandbox systems, if the client is happy with the data, or if we are happy to see the data is looking the same what is expected, then we will be promoting the data to the production system. So generally, to start with this CADS tool introduction, we can see here the 7 tiles, which starts with get started, dashboards, projects, data stores, agents, administrator, and setting. So these 7 tiles are common for all the CADS applications or front-end tool. But if you are a developer, when you have an authorization as an production operator or a developer, you will not be able to see the administration or administrator tab, which will holds the options of giving the access to the new users, or it is a type of security maintenance window where all the system details or the user details will be maintained. So before starting the introduction to this, first thing we will be looking at is administration. So what does this administration tab does? It has multiple options like to create the roles to the developer. So once the system is provided to the uh, client or customer from SAP, the basis team or the security team will be creating the authorizations to different users and providing the required roles for that particular developers. Generally, if you are being a development consultant or a developer, you will be getting an access as an developer to the system, whereas the security administrator will be the basis team where they maintain all the security activities of taking care of these administrative activities. Generally, we do have a production operator. So post production, like once the system is live and the go live is done, once in the support phase, the support consultants will get this post production operator access, so that they cannot change anything, they cannot develop anything in the system, but they can only monitor the system. In the same way, we have the administrator tab and security administrator tab, which generally the security team or the admin team will be handling. So here you will be having option to queue the create a new profile to a consultant or a developer or a user and give specified roles to them. I'll be clearly showing up in our upcoming classes, like how to give the authorization to the specified client or the customers or the developers. So if you before, so generally if you have the access as an production operator or developer, you will not be having access to this administration tab. You will only see the administration tab, but you will not have the options to create a new role to any particular one of the new developer or the consultant. So if you start before going taking you to the agents, data stores, projects, or data dashboards, once let's go to the get started. So get started is a page which gives a glance of complete CPI-DS system. So whoever is logging into the CIDS system to get an idea of high level architecture or an ideology of CIDS, they can just give a glance of the system get started page. So what you are seeing here, the first step of using the CIDS is download the agent and install the agent. As I said that this is the agent tab, and the step what you are mentioning is once you get the license from SAP, we need to first download the agent and install the agent. What is this agent? This agent, what it is referring is an CIDS DS agent machine, which I already mentioned as the backend system where the security or basis team will be taking care of all the connections. However, being a CIDS developer, you need to have a knowledge of DS agent installation and restart of agent, which will help you in restart of agent. And if you have any issues or post-production error handling techniques, this will be part of post-production error handling techniques, which I will be taking you through in upcoming classes. Sometimes the agent may go down due to unavailability of the system. Then you need to restart the agent, which is a nice ideological thinking before getting it from the base system support. So what we need to do? First thing is download and install the agent. Now let's think we got an license from SAP. First, what we need to do? We need to download the agent. The agent installation and download directly we can download it from the agents page. So here, if you see here, we have an option to download agent package. Once you click on this download agent package, it will route you to the SAP learning page where you can directly marketplace where you can install the agent. We have two different types of agent. One is for the Windows and the other one is for the Linux. So even the Windows system, you will be having two options. One is 32-bit and the 64-bit. You need to install as per your system requirements. So once this agent is installed from the CIDS front end page, you need to create a new agent here. Let's say demo December 27 or December 29 or 31st, and you will be having an option to receive downtime notifications. Generally, as I said, when the agent reaches the threshold value or if there is a huge weight of data on the agent, it may go down. So once it is down, you will get a notification if you click on this bar. So notification will be sent to you as an email saying that this agent is down due to this particular reason. So agent groups, you will be having, you can create a new group or you can add the agents to the existing group. What are these groups? What are these used for? What is the usage of these groups? Generally, I will discuss once we are creating the agents on our day-to-day classes. So you created a new agent in the system and you installed your agent in the your system with Windows or Linux. Then we need to download a file from the system and we need to upload it the agent machine so that the connectivity will be established between the front end system and the back end system of CIDS. If you see here, there is an agent created by Vishnu, one of the student or consultant. What he did, he has created an agent, he has installed the agent machine, he connected both of them. But if you see here, there are multiple agents. Some of the status shows as green in square and some of them shows as rectangular in red color. What does mean? So if the status is, if the agent is up and working fine, you will see the green status with a pair box. If the agent is down and if it is not working, you will see it in the red color triangular shape. So if it is in down, it will be in red color triangle. It says agent is unavailable. Directly, if you click on this, it shows agent is online. So that is the part of agent. What we did, we have installed the agent, we have downloaded the agent and installed the agent. Now configuration of agent. As I said, you need to create a new agent, establish the connections between using a file and configurations. So how the configurations are done it between the system configuration. The system configurations I'll be explaining you once we start the classes. And data store creation. What is data store? Data source or a data store is something yeah, basically what is a data store? Data store is a tab or a tile where all the system configuration details are maintained. So we are done with agents. Agent in the CPI, nothing must need to be done from front end level. Only agent will be created and the connectivity will be established in this agents tab. The second most important thing is creation of data stores. So we can create n number of multiple data stores as per the requirement. So basically, for each type of data store, we will be creating different data store options here. Generally, to create this, we need to have the source details or the target system details. Let's say demo data store. We have types. How many types of data stores we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In the initial days, we used to have only 7 to 8 data stores, but SAP have came up with new 2 to 3 data stores. The development is still in develop. The system is still in development phase where new data stores are getting added. So if you see here, SAP Business Suite applications, you need to give the agent details here. Under SAP Business Suite applications, you can connect it to your SAP ECC or S4 HANA system. Generally, in ECC or S4 HANA system, the basis team will create an TCP/IP type of RFC connection, and they will provide you the login credentials and the server details. You need to give the server details and the username and password, which is created by base system in the source system or the ECC system. So once you give these details, you'll be having an option to execute and preload or generate and execute. This, what does this two do? I will explain you in detail when we use the ECCR S4 as a source system. So we need to get all the configurations or the connections part done at the data store. So simply to say, what is a data store? Data store is a tile or a place in CPI-DS where all the system configurations are maintained. Likewise, if you see here, there are multiple types of options available like BW business suite applications, BW as a source, BW as a target, HANA cloud applications, different type of adapters like OData adapter, success factor adapters, databases, different databases like SQL, MySQL server, file format group, and SOAP web services call or REST web services call. And recently they have launched a new one called as Google BigQuery. Now we can directly connect to Google BigQuery. The establishment has been done. Only you need to do is you need to give the authentication or authorizations which are provided by the base system. So once the data store is created, you can create the data store by clicking the new data store option. You can test the connection anytime by using this second option, which is the test option. So you can select any of the data store and you can click on test. If it is, as the system is not yet up, you will see you will get an error message that test is failed. But going forward, when we configure it for our team, you will be seeing the test is successful. So you need to check before that the connectivity part is working good or not. Generally, once the connection is created, you can see all the configuration details in configurations and table details. Like we have different tables in the ECC or BW, right? That details you can import or from these tables tab. I will explain you clearly like what will be done at this level once we go to the design phase. So what is done? Create data stores. So data stores is created now. We need to import the meta objects metadata, which I told like in the tables you need to get the data, right? Table detail that comes on the metadata download. And next is import of object metadata is done. What is the architecture we need to follow? Create a plan, like in all the projects for CIDS as well, you need to create a plan upon functional specification documents, which is given by the functional team. You need to create a technical specification document. On basis of this technical specification document, upon the requirement of nomenclature given by the client or the customer, we need to create a project in the project tabs. So let's go to projects. What is a project? To start with a small example, I can define a project as a bunch of tasks and processes. What does it means? A task or a process. Generally, a task is you can define it as a job or a task. Task is a job which is used to create the data flow in return, which pulls. I already said you that CPI-DS does the ETL activities. So the design of this ETL activity will be done at this task level. So I will explain you clearly like what is task, what is a data flow, how to create a data flow, how to create a process, how to create a project. So in general, what is a project? As if you take an example of a company, you'll have the CEO level, senior manager level, team lead level, and team members. In the same way, if you take the project, if you can consider every project as a team lead. So every project has considering as a team lead, the team lead has a team has multiple team members in it. So each task can be considered as each team member. Even processes are a type of team members or tasks. So how to define a project? Project is a combination of some tasks or a processes which are required by a particular client. A bunch of tasks is called a project. So how to create a new project? Here you will be having to create a new project. You can give the details, name, let's say Z demo December. We can give the description like a December demo description, create and close. So you already created a demo. Now how to demo, how to search it? You can right click on this name where you can get the filter options like Z demo. You can directly give the name, and here the project is already created. Before going into the task, you have 4 options here. Let me remove the process. Let me first take you through all the options available in the system in the projects tab. If you see how many options we have, edit, create task, create process, more actions. What does this mean? If you click on this, we have an option to create, edit. You can edit the task name, project name which you have already created. You can create a new task. Once you click on the project, you can give the name of the task. Let's say Z demo task. You will be having n number of templates which are predefined by SAP. So generally, if you are using different source system which are already given, which are already predefined by SAP, you can just click on use template, and you can select this template. So the data flow will be already shown up on the data routing pilot page, and you can make the changes there. But I will explain you this in the upcoming classes. But in today we are going to, I'm going to show you in the first level. I will be showing you how to create a task, the custom task from the scratch. So once you set up, you need to select the source system is selected, target, like let's keep some of the system, and save one of the target, create the data flow. All these steps I'll be taking care by step. I'll taking you through, making it hands-on, so that it will be easy for you. It takes roughly 20 to 25 days for you if you practice on a daily basis. What is the data flow, how the data flow is used. See, once I created a data flow, we are onto the routing pilot page or the data flow page where all the design is done. If you see here, I already selected the target table. But in all the CPI-DS tasks, once we go onto this page, the target table and the target query are fixed. We cannot change these two. These are mandatory for any task. So if you see on the left side of the page, you will be having different options. If you select different source systems, you'll be seeing different options. For a flat file as a source, we have these options, like to select the source file, get a query. Query is something, a table to do the transformations. And we have aggregation tab, and we have XML map, and we have XML map badge, web service call or a function call, row generator, and a annotation. I will explain you each of these going for in the upcoming classes, what is used for what. And you need to just drag and drop this. The connections will be established. And once you click on this, you can just map it one to one, or once you are selecting it from a table, you need to get it from table to table. And if you see here, there are multiple filtrations which are available or predefined by SAP here, like conversions, like date conversion, character conversion, how to join the tables, and cryptography, date change, add to months, lookup, mathematical calculations, miscellaneous like row generation, if then else condition, list of these conditions, character and string values, validate by date, like mapping. In the joins, you can join two different source tables into a join and get the keep the join conditions, and you can get the union data or the required data from that particular two tables. Filtration, different types of filtrations are available. Ordered by, we can use this ordered by options, and file options. You can create a file or you can generate a file. These all are the filters which can be used in CPI-DS. And even in CPI-DS, there is nothing much to code. We use a scripting language which will be very easy to understand. It is a one line code which a normal consultant can also write. And if you see here, if you select any one of the tasks, you will be getting six options. One is to edit. If you want to edit any of these tasks, you will be having an option to edit. The second one is to view. You can just view the task or data flow, how it is designed. Schedule. Likewise, we have scheduled jobs in all the systems. You can even schedule the tasks or job in CPI-DS as well on an hourly basis or a daily basis as per the client requirement. Run now. If you want to immediately run right away, you can click on run now, and the tasks get started, and the data will be moved, and all the filtrations will be done and moved to the lower target required target as expected. View history. View history is something much required when you are in the post production support or at the development phase, because once you run the task, all that whatever has done will be noted in the trace log. So if you see a successful task here, let me go to a successful task. You see this task is successful. Again, we have two different options here, how we have it in the agents. One is the rectangular red color one, which will which shows an error. It says task finished with error. Here, if you see, it is in green color. It says task finished in successful. I will explain you what all the options will be having here. So if you view on history, click on view history. If you see this task, you'll have all the end-to-end details from the once you start the task to once the task get ended, you will get like at what step what is happening. Even a post support consultant can understand at what step what filtration is happening of data. So it will be found in trace log. You'll be having an option for monitor log. Monitor log consists of the record count, from which table what is done and what filtrations are done, which splits is giving what number of records. And error log is something if there is any error or warning because in the task, it will give the error or the warning here. So even the post production or production support consultant generally need to check this error log if the task got failed and need to check what is the reason for failure. And while developing this, as I said, we need some scripting language. We do have a scripting language is a short, small code which can be easily understood by each consultant. Even while using the scripting language, we do have something called as global variables. Global variables we can define it as a small variable which will help us to send the data into particular required fields. I will explain you in detail what is a global variable when it is required. So once the development, if you see here, creating a plan, creating a project is done, add a task to a project, we created a task, add a data to the task, we already created a data flow, we tested it, we reviewed it, everything is working fine, we created scripts, global variables, and you client is happy with your data, then we will promote the task to production. That is the final thing what we are going to cover in this. Create the task, run the task, show you how to uh, promote the task using the filters, making the changes to the data, and more options. If you see more options, in the more options you have m- some of the options given for you by CPI SAP itself, like replicate. So generally, if you want to make a copy of the existing task and if you want to make do any changes, we'll be using an option to replicate the task and promote. So once the final task is created and if you are happy with the data, we will promote the task to production by using this option. Unlock is something which I will be explaining you once we are going through the training. Export, get ATL, save as a version, manage version, delete and reset cache. These all are the options which are available within the system. So this is something we need to understand. I'll explain you clearly step by step, and we do have many of the which I will be sharing with you people so that it will be easy to understand. You can see here run now, schedule, run later, run from other applications. These are also the steps we have. I'll explain you like what need to be done at the each phase of the project. This is what is the plan of the agenda of the CPI-DS training. So once again, what we are going to cover is agent installation, data store creation, connectivity part, tasks, which means extraction, transformation of tasks, creation of tasks, data flows, projects, different filtration methodology, and then loading. And here week 3 real-time project scenarios. I will be helping you with some project scenarios and will be giving you exercises from day 1 so that you will get hands-on training by end of this training schedule. Week 4 IBP advanced integration options, like I will help you with the advanced documents of SDA and RTA as well. And the recap of all these sessions will be happening on week 5, and we will be having a questionnaire. I will also provide you some basic knowledge questions which will be helpful when you are planning to attend an interview on CADS.